Alright, yo, what is up guys, Fanatic here, and this is going to be a full in-depth guide or tutorial on how to beat the Frozen Dawn's Easter egg on World War II zombies. Now, as far as setup goes, Shell Shock and Free Fire are going to be the two specialists that you guys are going to want to use, and for consumables, you're going to want pretty much everyone to have max ammos for the boss fight, and then for early game, you'd want like double points, nukes, keys, anything to really open those doors as fast as possible. But with other than that, you guys are good on the setup, and let's get into this tutorial. So basically, this entire Easter egg is just upgrading the 4 wonder weapons, but I'm going to have timestamps in the descriptions for each individual wonder weapon if you guys already know how to do the other ones. But in this case, I'm going to start out with the scythe, so let's get right into that. So the first thing you're going to want to do when you spawn in is head over to this little altar on the ground, and you can start collecting souls on it, and this is actually going to open the first initial door, which brings you right into the map. But then once you have all the doors open, you're going to want to head over to this room with the big blood pool in the middle that you can throw grenades into, and you just want to head over to this little like raven face symbol on this little candle altar. But what you're going to want to do is go up to the little raven face and actually hold square, and this will start a defense step, or you really don't even have to defend it. I just run around so the rounds don't end, but all you're going to want to do is stay alive until the fire is over, and then once it's all done and you survived long enough, the scythe will be sitting right where you held square, and all you're going to want to do is go up to it, hold square, and now you have the scythe. So the next thing you're going to want to do is get 2 more pieces for the scythe to actually start the upgrade, and one of them is a wire, which is just in spawn. It spawns here every single game, same spot. So you're just going to want to head over to the spawn by the M30 Luftwaffe shotgun wall by, and just turn around, and it'll be sitting right here under like the little wreckage. You just want to hold square to pick it up, and then you want to go move over to the next piece, which is the spine. So to actually get this spine, you're going to need a corpse eater to spawn in, and there's many different ways for this to spawn in. You can just get it by waiting at the end of the round for it to spawn in. You can go to the pack-a-punch, and 2 will spawn in once you get back into the map. Or you can actually shoot one of these ravens, and one will come, I guess, fully upgraded, the one that does the little explosion after you kill it. But all you're going to want to do is kill this corpse eater with the scythe, and then after you kill it, you'll get this little animation with the spine, and you now have all the pieces to start the upgrade step. So the next thing you're going to want to do is head up these stairs by the blood pool, and you'll see these bones just sitting on the little ledge. All you're going to want to do is hold square, and this will actually place the scythe down with the tape and the spine. And all you're going to want to do now is just collect souls exactly where you just placed the scythe down, and once you're done, you will see the ignited the forge little icon pop up on your screen. And once you see that, all you're going to want to do is wait 2 full rounds, and then you're going to want to come back to the same exact spot, hold square, and then the scythe will disappear. And then all you're going to want to do is go on one of the teleporters, go to Pack-a-Punch, and it'll teleport you to this little ritual ancient room, little other dimension looking thing, and you're just going to want to pick up the scythe in the middle of the room, and there's going to be 2 corpse eaters fully upgraded, and then there's going to be 3 whistlings. All you're going to want to do is kill all of them. You will see that you successfully completed the Raven ritual or trial, and then once you do that, you now have the fully upgraded scythe, and we can move on to the next wonder weapon. So the next wonder weapon we are doing is going to be the flail, which is the little knife with a teleportation grenade, and this one's going to take a little bit of explanation, but it's going to be simple enough, and I'm pretty sure you guys will get it pretty easily. But the first thing you're going to want to do is get these 2 books that are lying on the ground around the map, and the first book always spawns here every single time. There's no other spawn location, but it's just to the right of the little battery holder and the overlook. And you're just going to want to look back there and hold square, and you'll pick up that first book nice and easily. And the second book has, I believe, 3 spawn locations that I know of. One of them is here in the ice caves, which happen to be in my game. The second one is just before the drop down towards the little blood pool room. And the third one is next to the blood altar, just next to these pots. Then once you get both of those 2 books, you're going to want to head over to this little stand and hold square on the right side and the back. And then this little door will open, and it'll reveal this colorful wall with circles on them, which I will explain in just a second. But the first thing you're going to want to do is go around and find 3 gears. which I believe had 6 spawn locations total for all of them. The first one can actually be in the spawn next to this little plane engine. Just hold square and you'll pick it up. The second one can be in the ice caves right here, which happen to be in my game. The next one can be in the little blood pool room where you upgraded the scythe on this little ice next to the wall. Another spawn location could be inside of that door that you opened with the books, just here to the right of the little mural thing. Another one can be next to the blood altar on this little ice to the right of the box. And the last location could be next to this little fire pit just to the left, just sitting on the side. Just hold square and you pick it up. But then once you get all 3 gears, you're going to want to head underground under the little globe station thing, and you're going to want to hold square on this little contraption right here. It'll place all 3 gears, and then you can either stay down here or go up top by the globes, and all you're just going to want to do is collect souls until you have it all charged up and you see the globes moving. And once you do that, you're just going to want to head over to the mural, and then I'll explain the globes right now. So the best possible way that I can explain this for this to actually work every single time is once you get to the mural, you're just going to want to look at it and you're going to want to completely flip it backwards, or not backwards, but like horizontally. So whatever's on the right is really going to want to look at it like it's on the left. So I'll put an example right here. I just take the picture and I completely just flip it the other way, just so whatever's on the right side is now on the left, whatever's on the left side is now on the right. That's all you're just really going to want to think of. So now you're just going to want to get the color that you want to do first, which in my case was purple, and because the purple was on the left, from the way I look at it, I put it on the right and it worked. So the way to tell if this works is the clock will actually sound like it's loaded in, and it'll like cock in and it'll make multiple different sounds. And the way for you to tell if it fails, it'll make one sound and it'll be like done, like it'll just make a done sound, and that's how you know if you failed it, and you're gonna have to press all the colors and restart the combination. So in order to time this, you're gonna want to hold square a little bit before the actual destination that you want it, but you don't want to be too before, because then it'll stop at the one before it, if that makes any sense. So just hold square when it's just a little bit behind your destination that you wanted at, and then once you do that for all 4, the flail will spawn right next to the clock. You're just going to want to go up to it, hold square, and then you can begin the next step. So the next step in upgrading the flail is using the teleportation grenade by pressing R1 to throw it up top in this little room, and then tapping R1 again to teleport. And then there's going to be these 3 plates on the ground. All you're going to want to do is head over to this first one right here and collect 3 zombie souls, and then once you collect those 3 zombie souls and turn around, there'll be this floating rune, and all you're going to want to do is run around the map in this path. I just say this path just because I think it's the fastest, so you're just going to want to follow this path and look in all these locations for these different stars that are floating in the sky. So I'm just going to leave this path on the screen. I'm not going to talk through it, so just take a look. And then once you follow that path and you see the stars right here, you're just going to want to hold L2 so you can see your green vision, and then you're going to want to hover over all of the little circles, and then the stars will pop up and it'll say that you completed the first set of stars. And then once you're done with the first one, you're just going to want to head back up and do that for the second one, and then once you're done, follow the same path and look for the stars, and you're just going to want to do the same exact thing for the third one. And then once you're done, it'll say that you completed the third one, and you're just going to want to head over to the globes, and it'll be glowing yellow. You're just going to throw your teleportation teleportation grenade on the globe and then teleport, and then you'll be put in the same little dimension, and you're just going to want to hold square to pick up the flail. And then for this, you're just going to want to kill the zombies that spawn in, and then this little fire line will start going through. You're just going to want to throw the grenade at the very edge of the little platform, and then as soon as the fire passes it, you're going to want to teleport so you can dodge the fire. If it touches you at all, it's an insta down, and you're going to have to either self-revive, but if you don't have any self-revives, you're unfortunately going to die. So just make sure you make it through that fire, and there's going to be 2 stages of the fire, and then once you're done with both of them, you will be teleported out and you have successfully upgraded the flail, and we can now move on to the hammer. So the first thing you're going to need to do for the hammer is go into spawn to the left of the shotgun wall buy, and there's going to be this battery that's buried in the snow. You're just going to want to hold square on it, bring it all the way down to the overlook to this little pot that's right here, and just hold square on it to place it down. And then you're going to want to collect a lot of souls. It's not too much, but just keep collecting souls until it eventually goes up purple, and then you can move on to the next step. So now you're going to want to go around the map and find these 4 stones that are around the map, and these are all 4 in the same exact spot every single game. They never move. So the first one is next to these pedestals where the wonder weapons go, just sitting right here. The second one is down to the right through the door on this little pillar behind the shield machine. The third one is in this zombie spawn next to the globes, and the last one is opposite of double tap just before the drop down of the blood altar, sitting right here. And once you have all 4 stones, you're going to want to go to the overlook and place these 4 down on the ground right here in these little holes. And once you do that, you're going to want to look on the back, and you'll see 4 runes on the wall right here, and you're going to want to remember that code, and there's going to be 4 runes around this area right here. You can see them all 4 right here, and you're going to want to kill 1 zombie at a time. It can't be at the same time, even if it's the same thing. So just kill 1 zombie at a time at each of the runes in the right code, and once you do that, lightning will start striking in front of the battery, and once you do that, you'll be good. The hammer will spawn in, just go up to it, it'll teleport away, and then you can move on to the next step. So the next thing that's going to happen is that these 4 pillars are going to start rising up near the battery where you just got the hammer, and 2 of them are already going to be glowing with the lightning symbol, and 2 of them are not. And there's a link in the description for how to solve these with the easiest possible combination. So you just want to click on that link, and then it'll show 4 arrows in a vertical shape, and A is the top, B is the next one, C is the next one, and then D is the bottom. Pretty straightforward. So if it's facing towards the back, you're going to want to put the arrow up. If it's facing towards you, you're going to want to put the arrow down, and then if it's facing to the left, arrow left, facing to the right, arrow to the right. And once you do that, just click on solve, alright, and then it'll tell you which one to shoot. So it'll say like A twice, C once, and then D 3 times. Just shoot it in the correct order, and the puzzle should solve. The lightning bolt should glow up, and then just turn around and do the same thing for the next one. And then once all 4 are lit up, you want to go to the hammer and lay prone and crawl up to it, and then once you're right under the hammer, just hold square, and then it'll turn sideways and it'll start moving. So all you're going to want to do is kind of scare it towards the battery where you just did the lightning bolts. So just kind of push it towards that area, and then it'll go next to the battery and it'll start shocking, and then you can go up and pick up the hammer, and you are ready to move on to the upgrade. So the first step in upgrading the hammer is actually going to spawn, and you'll see this little electric rune on the wall, and all you're going to want to do is melee it with the hammer and run over inside the little first door that you open, and then you'll see another rune on the wall. You're just going to want to hit it, and then that'll transfer the energy to that rune. You want to melee that rune again, run down next to the blood pool right here, and then melee the rune right above that, and then have like a friend or someone hold a zombie next to where you activated the little raven face for the scythe, and then just have him train it around there, melee the rune again, run down by this doorway, melee that zombie that your friend is holding, and then the electric shock will go up on top of the little archway or the little doorway. And then what you can do if your hammer is not shocking is just like buy double tap right around the corner, and then you can go. But if your hammer is already shocking, just run over to this wall, lay prone, and then hit this rune that's on the bottom little wall right here, and then this puzzle or little block things will start to turn, and then you are ready to move on to this next step here. So the next step is actually solving this little riddle or puzzle on the wall, and Damon that game has a really good little guide or combination on the screen right here. So I'm putting his link in the description. Make sure you guys go check him out and thank him for this little guide sheet right here. So for the first combination, as you can see right there, you're just going to want to shoot the middle one first and then the top one second, and then you guys can just follow the same guide for the next two. And then once you follow this guide and you're done with the third combination and you complete this puzzle, you want to run back over to the overlook area where the battery is, and then hold the hammer out, and then there's actually an invisible little walkway right here. You're just going to want to walk out and just keep walking forward until you reach the lightning, and then once you hit the lightning, you'll start floating up into the air, and then you'll teleport into the other dimension on the little platform. You just want to go in the middle, pick up the hammer, and then a whole bunch of zombies will start spawning in, and then you're just going to want to spam L2 or R2 and just kill all the zombies. And then once you kill all of them, 3 more will spawn in, but they will have shields around them. So to take off the shield, you're just going to want to hold R1 to throw the hammer at them, and that takes off their shield, and you can just press L2 to kill them. But once you kill every single zombie and you're done with that trial, you now successfully have the upgraded hammer, and then we can move on to the fourth and final wonder weapon, which is the shield. So the first thing you need to do for the shield is fill up these 3 blood pools that are around the map, and the first one is actually just through the first door from the spawn to the left right here, just next to this barricade. Just collect zombie souls and just wait until it pops up on your screen that you finished. So you can just head over to the other side and open this door right here where you picked up the second stone for the hammer, and then it's just under this little rune right here next to this red wall, and all you're going to want to do is fill up zombie souls again. So the third one, you're going to need this stone piece before you can actually start collecting these souls, and it's just down here after you drop down towards the little blood pool room. But you're going to drop down and turn to the left, and it's sitting right here in this little pile. So just hold square and pick that up, and then you can head over to where the battery is, or near the battery, and it's just up these stairs to the right. And you're just going to want to hold square in the blood pool to place that stone, and then you can start collecting souls. And then once that's done, you are ready to move on to the next step. So after you fill up all the blood pools, you want to head over to the blood altar next to where the box spawns, and a whistling will rise up from the blood, and all you're going to want to do is kill that whistling, and you'll see that the shield is on his back. So once you kill it, the shield will drop, and you can pick up the shield, and then you're ready to move on to the next step. So the next thing you need to do is go over to the blood pools that you were filling up and go to all 3 of them, and you want to see which one is smoking and making this little sizzly sound or bubbly sound. And once you find that, you're going to want to get a corpse eater that's fully charged up. You can do this by either shooting the ravens, going to pack a punch and have him eating 5 zombies, but just get a charged corpse eater and bring him to that blood pool, and once he's on top of it, you're going to want to damage him enough to where you start seeing the red hit markers, and then he's going to explode. And then if you do that correctly, you will look at the blood pool and there will be this design with bubbles or like sound waves on them, and once you do that, you've done that correct. And then you want to head over to the other 2 blood pools and see which one is making that smoke again. Get another corpse eater that's charged, kill it on that blood pool, and then repeat for the final blood pool, and then you can move on to the next step. Now, it is very important that you remember the order of the blood pools that you killed the little corpse eaters on, because that's actually going to be involved in the next step. So in my case, in my game right here, the first one was inside next to the red wall, the second one was by the hammer up the stairs, and then the third one was in the ice caves next to the barricade. It is extremely important that you remember that order of your blood pools. So once you have those remembered or written down somewhere, just get a bomber and bring him over to spawn, and you'll see this little slanted piece of metal on the ground right here, and all you're going to want to do is let him blow up on you, and I suggest that you go from the side because that works for me every time. And once you get that bomber blown up, the piece of metal will disappear, and then there will be a speaker and a radio on the ground. All you're going to want to do is go up to them, hold square on both of them, and then run over to the big blood altar where the whistling spawned with the shield on his back. Hold square to place the speaker down right here, and then the radio is just to the left right here, and then you will start seeing these patterns in that blood pool, which is actually the same design on the little blood pools. So all you're going to want to do is go to the first blood pool where you killed that first corpse eater, and look at the design on the blood pool, and then once you have that remembered, run over to the big blood altar and hold square on the radio to change the design to that first blood pool, and then once it matches the same design, kill 1 zombie to collect the soul in that design. Run over to the second little blood pool, remember that design, head over back to the altar and change it to that second blood pool, kill 1 more zombie, and and then do the same exact thing for the third one. Run over to the third blood pool, remember that design, and then match it with the design on the blood altar. And then once you get that last kill, you will start noticing that the blood pool is now flashing the different designs, and that means that you've successfully done that step. And all you're going to want to do is hold the shield out. I'm not 100% sure if you have to hold the shield out or not, but I just do just in case. And you're just going to want to get down in that blood pool, and if you do that correctly, you will get spawned in the other dimension. Pick up the shield in the middle of the room, and then for this, there's going to be a lot of zombies that are going to spawn. All you're going to want to do is kill them with R2 to do the charge attack, and then once you kill all the zombies, this light will start hurting you or damaging you. All you're going to want to do is face the light, stay crouched, and hold L2 to block the damage, and then once that's done, more zombies will spawn, and then once you kill all of them, the same light thing will happen again, and once you finish that, you have successfully upgraded the shield, and now you can move on to the next step. So the next thing you want to do is basically just get set up, get all the perks, pack a punch. I suggest going in with the 9mm and an LMG, both upgraded. And for perks, I'd say get the melee perk, double tap, stamina up, and quick revive. Those are just the best setups in my opinion. And once you have all those, get all of the wonder weapons and head up to the little pedestals up top by the overlook and just place them all down, the 3 melee weapons being in the front and then the shield being on this little circle one in the back. And then once you place all of them down, the volcano will light up and you will start hearing the audio from the characters. And then once the audio cue is done, you can pick up whichever wonder weapons you want. It doesn't matter, they're all spawn in the boss fight. Then once you are ready, you want to head over to the right where this teleporter will open. Everyone just gets inside, hold square to activate it, and now you are ready to move on to the boss fight. So this boss fight actually has 4 different stages corresponding to each wonder weapon, and the first stage is probably best to use for the scythe, and all of this is doing is he's just shooting this little charge attack at you, and all you're going to want to do is light him up with as many bullets as you can, and just keep shooting him with the LMG. The head is the weak point. Don't shoot him when he's moving, because then it won't damage him. He'll have this little shield around him, so just whenever you see those little tiny hit markers, just stop shooting at him and wait till he stops moving. But once you fire at him enough, he will fly into the middle, and the 3 altars will be glowing up with Geistcraft. All you're going to want to do is pull out that 9mm or whatever other gun you have and shoot the altars on the ground, and this will cause the king to fall onto the ground. And all you're going to want to do is keep shooting at him until he goes back up and you have successfully completed the first stage. Now the second stage is going to be best for the shield, so just have someone grab that. If it's a 4-player game, then you guys are all good, but just make sure you have the shield. It'll be easier, and it's generally just the same attacks as the first stage, although he adds another one which I call the nuke. And all this nuke is when you see him go to the middle and curl up in this little ball, just hide behind the little ice pillars and you guys can dodge the attack really easily. And again, just light him up with as much bullets as you can. He will keep doing this nuke over and over again, and every time he does the nuke, he does about 4 or 5 charge attacks at you. Just dodge them, pretty easy to avoid, and then he'll keep doing nukes after the 4 to 5 charge attacks. All you're going to want to do is keep shooting him with the LMG. Again, head is the weak point, don't shoot him when he's moving, and once you're done, the altars will be glowing up again. All you're going to want to do is shoot them. He'll get knocked to the ground. Keep shooting him until you see the little hit markers, and then you have successfully completed the second stage, and now we can move on to stage 3. Now the third stage corresponds with the hammer, so just make sure you have that picked up, but this one's a lot easier than stage 2 because there's no more nuke, and all this does is add shields to the zombie like you had when you were upgrading the hammer, and the boss just has the same exact attacks besides the nuke, so it's a lot easier. Just keep lighting him up. The only difference is that he has more health than stage 2, which really doesn't make a difference at all. So all you're going to want to do is throw that hammer at the zombies until their shield goes away. You don't really have to focus on them too much though. I usually just train them around and shoot the boss, but once you damage the boss enough, he will fall to the ground again. Shoot the altars and then shoot him once he's on the ground, and then once you see that he has the shield and he flies back up into the air, you are now moving on to stage 4. Now stage 4 is going to be involving the flail, and it's very important that you have this flail because it's the only way to get past this stage and survive. So the attacks for this one is the same. Now there's grenade attacks in the first stage that I forgot to mention, but they don't really do too much. They'll just take off like a shield, but you can easily get that back with the flail. Now all this stage really is the same exact attacks, but this time he's going to suck you towards his throne, and once that happens, that signifies you or tells you that the fire is, or the ring of fire is going to start. And for this, you're just going to want to look towards his throne. You'll see the fire coming. All you're going to want to do is teleport past the fire like you did when you were upgrading the flail, and once you teleport past, pull out a gun as fast as you can and shoot the boss, because that stops the ring of fire from killing your teammates. And you're just going to want to keep doing that, lighting getting as much ammo as you can put into him, and then just repeat like you did for the other stages. Then once he's on the ground, shoot all of the altars until he's fully knocked down, shoot him, and then if you succeeded, he'll fly back to his throne, he'll knock you down, take all of your shield, and you will have successfully completed the Easter egg for the Frozen Dawn. The cutscene will play, and you'll get your trophy, and you'll get all the character challenges and everything you get for beating this. You'll get the zombie if you completed all the previous Easter eggs, all that good stuff. But other than that, that's going to wrap up my tutorial here. If you guys enjoyed, make sure you leave a like. If you're new, make sure you hit the sub button down below. Also, don't forget to hit that post notification bell so I don't miss a single upload or stream. But other than that, it's been your boy Fanatic, and I'm out. Take it easy.